Listen up. Someone is about to test you today, and right now, you're completely defenseless. What if I told you there's a specific type of person that liars refuse to mess with? Not because they're mean, but because they're impossible to fool. By the end of this video, you're going to become that person, and nobody will dare lie to your face again. Here's what's wild. Dishonest people can smell weakness from across the room. They know exactly who to target and who to avoid. They're looking for 3 specific signs, and if you show even one of them, you've already lost. But here's the good news. You're about to learn how to flip the script completely. Think about your daily life. Your coworker who claims they're too busy to help. Your roommate who swears they didn't eat your food. That person who promised to pay you back next week. Why do they think they can get away with it? Why you specifically? Because you're sending out signals without even knowing it. Every time you nod too quickly, every time you accept excuses without thinking, every time you avoid making things awkward, you're basically broadcasting, "I'm an easy target, come fool me." And the worst part is, you probably do this multiple times every single day. But imagine walking into a room and having a completely different energy, an energy that makes people think twice before even considering lying to you, an energy that screams, "I see everything, don't even try." That's not about being aggressive or rude. It's about carrying yourself in a way that demands honesty. And today you're going to learn exactly how to do that. Here's the truth that nobody talks about. Being nice is making you a victim. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. When you're always understanding, always forgiving, always giving people the benefit of the doubt, you're not being kind, you're being naive. Dishonest people study you like a test. They watch how you react to small things. They test boundaries with tiny lies. They measure how much they can get away with. And if you pass their test by being too trusting, congratulations. You just became their new project. But there's a different way to move through the world, a way that filters out dishonest people automatically. It's like having an invisible force field that repels manipulation. And the crazy part is, once you activate this force field, your entire life gets better. Your relationships improve. Your stress drops, your confidence skyrockets, all because you stopped being an easy mark. So, how do you build this force field? That's exactly what these 7 secrets are about, and I'm warning you right now. Once you start using these, you can't unsee the lies anymore. You'll spot them everywhere, and your whole perspective on people will shift forever. Number 1, become comfortable with discomfort. Most people will do anything to avoid awkward moments. They'll laugh when things aren't funny. They'll agree when they don't actually agree. They'll let things slide just to keep the peace. And liars know this. They count on it. Here's what I want you to do. Next time someone says something that doesn't sit right with you, just stay quiet. Don't fill the silence. Don't smooth it over. Don't rescue them from the awkwardness. Just look at them and wait. Let that uncomfortable feeling build in the air like pressure. You know what happens. People who are telling the truth don't mind. They'll wait with you. They're secure in what they said. But people who are lying will crack like glass. They'll start adding details nobody asked for. They'll get fidgety. They'll try to change the subject. They'll laugh nervously, all within about 5 seconds of that silence. This works because lying takes mental effort. When you stay silent, you're not giving them feedback. You're not guiding them. You're not showing them if their lie is working. And that silence forces them to keep their lie running in their head, while also dealing with the pressure of your quiet attention. It's like making them juggle while walking a tightrope. Eventually they fall. Practice this today. Just once, when someone tells you something questionable, go completely quiet for 5 full seconds. Don't break eye contact, don't nod, don't say, Just be still and watch what happens next. Wait, let me give you a real example of this in action. Last week I was buying something online. The seller said the item was perfect condition. So I just replied, "Okay," and then didn't say anything for a few seconds. Suddenly they started messaging me, paragraphs about tiny flaws I never asked about. The silence made them confess everything. That's the power of strategic quiet. Number 2, master your facial expressions. Your face is a billboard that shows exactly what you're thinking, and manipulative people read it like an instruction manual. When you look surprised, yes, they know you believe their lie. When you look skeptical, they adjust their story. You're literally helping them manipulate you. Here's the fix. Develop what I call observer mode. This is where your face shows interest but reveals nothing else. Think of how a therapist looks at their patient, or how a judge looks at someone testifying, engaged but completely neutral. no raised eyebrows when they say something shocking, no sympathetic frown when they tell you something sad, no excited smile when they share good news. Just calm, focused attention. This doesn't mean being cold or robotic. It means being present without broadcasting your thoughts. Try this right now. Look in a mirror and practice telling yourself a wild story. Watch your face react. Now tell the same story while keeping your face completely neutral except for gentle eye contact. Feels weird at first, right? But this is the face that makes liars panic. When someone can't read your reaction, they don't know if their lie is working. So they keep talking, keep adding details, keep digging themselves deeper. Meanwhile, you're just sitting there, calm as water, watching them build their own trap. It's honestly fascinating once you start doing it. The best part about observer mode is that it also protects your energy. You're not giving away your emotions to people who haven't earned them. You're staying centered and grounded while everyone else is showing their cards. This alone will change how people treat you. Number 3, ask questions that corner them. Most people ask softball questions that are easy to lie to. Questions like, did you do it? Or, is that true? These are yes or no questions. And yes or no questions are a liar's best friend. Instead, ask questions that require detailed answers. Questions that make them paint a picture. For example, instead of asking, were you really stuck in traffic? Ask, what did the traffic look like? What exit were you near? How many lanes were backed up? Now they have to create a whole scene, not just say yes. Here's another trick. Ask about the boring parts. Liars prepare the exciting parts of their story, they rehearse the dramatic moments, but they forget about the mundane details. So if someone says they went somewhere, don't ask about the main event. Ask about the parking situation. And ask what they ate, ask what time they left. Truth tellers can answer these boring questions instantly because they actually experience them. But liars have to make them up on the spot. And that's when they hesitate. That's when their eyes dart away. That's when you catch them. Also try the reverse order technique. Ask them to tell you what happened, then later ask them to tell you again, but starting from the end and working backwards. Real memories can be accessed from any direction, but manufactured stories fall apart when you reverse them. It's like asking someone to say the alphabet backwards. Possible, but way harder. One more weapon for your arsenal. Repeat back what they said, but change one detail slightly. If they said they were at the mall, you say, oh, so you were at the store. Honest people will correct you immediately. They'll say, no, I said mall, not store. But liars will often agree with your wrong detail, because they're not keeping track of a real memory. They're tracking a fake story, and your version sounds close enough. I wish someone had taught me this stuff years ago. I've been lied to by friends, by partners, by coworkers, by family. And every single time, I could have caught it if I had just known what to look for. But I was too busy being nice, too busy being understanding, too busy avoiding confrontation. The turning point for me was realizing that being lied to wasn't just annoying. It was literally shaping my reality. I was making decisions based on false information. I was trusting people who didn't deserve it. I was living in a world that wasn't real, and that's a terrifying way to live. So I decided to stop being easy to fool, and everything changed. Number 4, pay attention to their body language, not just their words. People can control what they say, but their body often tells the truth even when their mouth is lying. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff like looking away or fidgeting. I'm talking about the subtle things most people miss. Watch their hands. When people lie, they tend to keep their hands still or hidden, like in their pockets or under the table. They do this unconsciously because open hands signal honesty, and their brain knows they're not being honest. So, closed body language is a red flag. Watch their feet. This is huge because nobody thinks about controlling their feet. If someone's feet are pointing away from you while they're talking to you, their body literally wants to escape. If their feet are tapping or shuffling, they're anxious about what they're saying. Watch the timing between their words and their gestures. When someone is telling the truth, their gestures match their words in real time. But when someone is lying, there's often a delay. They might say, I'm so excited, but their smile comes half a second too late. That delay is because they're consciously trying to add the emotion after the words. Also, watch for what I call comfort gestures, touching their neck, rubbing their arms, playing with their hair. These are self-soothing behaviors that people do when they're stressed. And lying is stressful, So if someone suddenly starts doing these things while telling you a specific part of their story, that's the part you should question. Here's the key though. One sign means nothing. As humans are complex and sometimes people are just nervous. But when you see 3 or 4 of these body language signals at the same time, especially during a specific part of their story, you've found the lie. Number 5, control what you reveal about yourself. Information is power, and every time you tell someone something personal, you're giving them ammunition they can use against you. I'm not saying be secretive, I'm saying be strategic. Dishonest people are information hunters. They ask a lot of questions, they seem really interested in you. They remember little details, and it feels good at first. It feels like they care. But what they're actually doing is building a profile of your weaknesses, your soft spots, your triggers. Once they know you have a sick relative, they can create emergencies that tug at that specific heartstring. Once they know you value loyalty, they can frame their lies as protecting someone. Once they know you hate conflict, they can use your desire for peace against you. So, here's what you do. When someone asks you personal questions, especially someone you just met or don't know well, flip it back to them. They ask where you work. You say, in the city. What about you? They ask about your family. You say, oh, they're good. Do you have siblings? Notice how you're not exactly answering. You're redirecting. This does 2 things. First, it protects your information from being weaponized. Second, it forces them to do more talking. And the more they talk, the more they reveal. Honest people don't mind this redirect. They'll happily talk about themselves. But information hunters get frustrated because they're not getting what they came for. Also, never explain yourself unless you actually need to. When you over-explain, you're giving people your reasoning, your justifications, your thought process, and all of that can be used to manipulate you later. Sometimes the most powerful response is just no or I'm not comfortable with that, with 0 explanation attached. Think of it like this. You're the gatekeeper of your own information, and not everyone deserves access. Being private isn't being cold, it's being smart. Number 6, trust your gut but verify. Anyway, your intuition is picking up on micro-signals that your conscious brain misses, those little voice in your head that says something feels off. That's your subconscious connecting dots that you can't see yet. Listen to it. But here's the thing. Intuition alone isn't enough. You also need evidence. So when your gut tells you something's wrong, don't ignore it, but also don't accuse without proof. Instead, start paying closer attention. Start asking more questions. Start watching for patterns. Keep mental notes of what people tell you, not in a paranoid way, just in a aware way. If someone says they're always broke but somehow has money for concerts, note that. If someone says they never lie but you catch them in small lies, note that. If someone's story changes slightly each time they tell it, note that. These notes build a pattern over time, and patterns don't lie. 1 inconsistency could be a mistake, but 5 inconsistencies is a choice. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Also trust your gut about good people too. When someone feels solid, when their words match their actions consistently, when they're honest, even when it's uncomfortable, note that too. These are the people you want to invest your time and trust in. Your intuition works both ways. Here's a practice that sharpened my intuition massively. After every conversation, especially with new people, take 2 minutes to check in with yourself. How did that feel? Did anything seem off? Did I notice any red flags? Did they answer my questions directly or dodge them? This reflection time trains your intuition to get stronger and clearer. Number 7, be willing to walk away. This is the most powerful secret of all. If you're not willing to end relationships with dishonest people, then none of the other secrets matter, because liars will keep lying to you if they know you'll stick around no matter what. You have to make a decision right now. Is honesty a requirement for staying in your life, or is it just a preference? Because if it's just a preference, people will lie to you forever. But if it's a requirement, suddenly everyone around you straightens up. This doesn't mean cutting people off for tiny lies. It means having clear boundaries about deception. It means saying, if I find out you lied to me about something important, we're done. No second chances, and meaning it. The beautiful thing is, once people know you're serious about this, they stop lying to you because the risk is too high. They know that one lie could cost them access to you, and that threat of loss is more powerful than any confrontation could ever be. I've had to walk away from friends, from romantic interests, from business partners, And every single time, it hurt. But you know what hurt more? Staying in relationships where I was being deceived, where I couldn't trust anything anyone said, where I was constantly second-guessing and feeling crazy. Now my circle is smaller, but it's solid. Everyone in my life knows that honesty is non-negotiable, and that creates a level of peace and trust that I never had before. No more wondering, no more suspecting, no more detective work. Just clean, honest relationships. And here's what's wild. When you operate this way, you actually attract more honest people, because honest people are exhausted by dishonest people too. They're looking for someone who values truth as much as they do. So, by being that person, you become a magnet for quality relationships. So, let me bring this all together. When you combine all 7 of these secrets, you transform into someone completely different. You become aware without being paranoid, careful without being cold, discerning without being judgmental. Liars will sense this new energy on you immediately. They'll feel uncomfortable around you. They'll avoid you. They'll move on to easier targets. And that's exactly what you want. You're not trying to catch everyone in lies. You're trying to prevent lies from being told to you in the first place. Meanwhile, honest people will feel safe around you. They'll appreciate that you don't play games. They'll respect your boundaries. They'll value the trust you build together. Your life becomes simpler, cleaner, more peaceful. Here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one of these 7 secrets and use it today. Just one, then come back and drop a comment telling me what happened. Which secret did you use and what did you discover? I'm reading every single comment because I want to hear your stories. And if this video just changed how you see people, hit that like button and subscribe.